You're clickbaiting. Oh, please. These dangerous things just tend to happen a concerning amount of times in my life. Okay, maybe I instigated a bit, but this is nothing to brag about. I kid you not. This happened not too long ago. 'Tis the season where all the crazy people come out. So I hope you guys had a better holiday than I did. This is gonna be one of those videos I'll add a disclaimer, but no one will listen to because curiosity, then regret over everything. So you know what's best for you. So if you don't know, I'm currently living in a dorm for this semester. I decided I wanted to go home for Thanksgiving break. You know, to spend time with the family as much as possible. Before I left though, my roommates wanted to eat dinner with me first at like 11 p.m. Like I know it's mad late. It's why I left the dorm around midnight after eating. By the time I got to the train station, it was 1 a.m. Why would you take public transportation so late at night? Are you crazy? Shh. I know damn well of my mistake. The train arrived shortly after and I stepped inside. No one was in it, or at least that's what I thought at first. It wasn't really strange to me that it was empty inside because for one, it was 1 a.m., not rush hour. And second, it was only the second stop out of many other stops for that particular route. Not many people would have gotten on just yet. The first thing I thought was, wow, it smells like shit in here. I saw a puddle on the floor which I could only assume was piss because of the foul odor, but it wasn't that unusual. A lot of trains in this area often had a faint smell like that. This one just stronger than the others. The train started to move now and I sat down to listen to my music when suddenly, in the corner of my eye, a guy sitting on the seat all the way at the other end gets up and starts cautiously walking towards me. The heck? Why didn't I notice him before? Oh well, I didn't acknowledge him and went back to listening to my music. But the next thing I knew, he was standing right in front of me. And I mean like an inch away from my face. Way too close for comfort. Wait a minute. I realized the smell came from him. I don't mean to be rude, but no, who am I kidding? I fucking wanted to barf at that moment. I glanced for a split second, noticed he was wearing a light blue gown while holding a few scattered newspapers in his hand, and I didn't feel like looking up at his face cause that would have been weird. I don't know, I thought. Maybe he just wanted to stand there, but I knew deep down that it was just my mind making excuses so I didn't have to confront this guy. The fact that all the other seats were empty and he just happened to decide that he wanted to stand there and block the view in front of me was already a given to me that this wasn't just some coincidence. After like 30 awkward seconds of trying to ignore him, through my earphones, I heard heavy breathing. What the fuck? But then he sat down on the seat in front of me. Okay, cool. At least he's further than he was before. I kept my eyes glued to the phone. But then this happened. I heard loud moaning noises, groaning. Out of major concern, I looked up. Mind you, this is the first time I got a good look at his face. Now, I don't mean to judge by appearance, but I could just tell something was very off with this guy. His creepy smile wasn't helping him either. But wait, if he's moaning, groaning, making all these struggle noises, then why is he smiling? Well, I found out why not too long after. Something underneath his gown was making a repetitive up and down motion. See where I'm getting at? He was trying to cover what he was doing with his newspapers too.
Well, give the guy some credit. At least he was trying to cover it up. Like it could have been worse where he doesn't even try to hide it with anything. But you're just lucky that he even bothered.
Let's just say now that we do not credit dumbass logic like that and try to justify those type of actions based on what wasn't done. Let's be real. It doesn't cut the griminess any less than it is. This is public transportation, not your house. I hope you realize a bunch of people sit in that same spot every day. So here this guy was, beating his meat right in front of me. All that came to my mind was, oh hell no. Nah, you buggin'. I gotta get off the next stop. I don't care which one it is. I'm out. I decided that I might as well report the guy to the police first, and take a picture of him just in case they needed one to find a public wanker. So while he was having fun playing with his schlong, I pointed my phone camera at him pretending to text a friend when suddenly, his beef whistle slips out of the gown accidentally with newspapers scattering all over the floor. My phone almost drops by surprise. After he picks all of them up, he stood up once again, walked in front of me, and he just stood there. Man, you'd think after all of that, he'd have some shame and walk away. But then again, if he's willing to go that far to jack off freely on public transportation, probably not. After some very intimate tension, he finally decided to place his hand on my left shoulder, right after he touched himself. Okay, now that was the final straw. The alarm bells in my head just told me to take action. Like now. Hey yo, what you doing? Don't be stupid and just sit there. Go kick his ass or something. And I had no problem listening to impulse at that moment. Alright, pause. Let me just say that I'm not fat, tall, nor intimidating in size whatsoever. Let me also say that I was never the type to be dependent on judging anyone's overall personality, intellect, capability based on their overall stature. Bullshit. Yet from my experience, a lot of people seem to do that without a second thought, including this jizzbag wanker. Oh look, a small girl sitting alone on the train. An easy target, bound to be weak and submissive, right? No. Fuck off. My sanity was still intact, so I don't know what kind of thoughts were going through this guy's mind to give it a go. But there was an attempt. We are not about to play predator and victim on this empty moving train, cause it's not at all as if actual passengers are gonna be stepping in anytime soon to see what's going on. You wild. You a kook. Square up, B. Okay. Fine. Maybe this isn't how most people would feel in this situation, but honestly, this really did set me off at the time. Especially since this wasn't the first time something like this happened to me. But rant over. Back to the story. This lard was really planning to do more violating right after he jerked off in front of me. Sorry to disappoint, but it's not happening. I saw red when he touched my shoulder. I was in the process of getting one of those cheesy anime power boosts that only got stronger from rage and the power of French self-defense reflex, you know? My body was really just acting on its own at that point. I got up and shoved him down. The fuck are you doing? It didn't take him long to start making those Godzilla noises again, and he had this crazy look in his eyes when he turned back to me. Good lord. He bounced back upwards and put his hand on me again. Get the fucking hint. We started struggling against each other with nobody on the train to break it up because it wasn't stopping anytime soon. Legit, this is a fight I could have gotten away with if I was 9 or even in a Jackie Chan movie, but this was real life. There was no law enforcement around to stop us. I couldn't read his movements at all. He spat on my face a few times while yelling and got the few inappropriate touches he wanted during the process. Chill, man, are you doing this on purpose? Fast-moving train wasn't helping us much either, since we were pretty much tumbling back and forth. The whole time I was thinking, get your peener away from me. This is ridiculous. I can't believe this is the beginning of my Thanksgiving break. It seemed like forever, but as soon as the next stop arrived, I threw him out of the train, making sure he couldn't come back in. He scrambled to return from the platform, but I kicked him for trying, and the doors eventually closed. When that was over, and the train started moving again, I just wanted to cool down a bit, until I realized I missed my stop. The place I ended up getting off was mad shady too. Ah shit. I was farther than home than I was before, so I ended up calling myself an Uber. The driver who was taking me home was chill, but he seemed high. Nonetheless, I'd take him over a junkie any day. We had a pretty laid-back conversation during the ride, which eventually led me to mentioning what went down just a few minutes ago. Dude, this old guy in a light blue gown in an empty train tried to rape me before you picked me up. People are insane nowadays. And the driver went silent for a moment, and then he said,
"You do know there's a mental asylum around here with a good number of escapees, right? With the blue gown you just mentioned? I've seen a few of those guys around here too. You should be more careful going out around this time. If it were me, I would have kicked him in the balls and threw him off."
So a fight with a mental asylum runaway. Cool, time to cross that off the bucket list. Needless to say, my parents were extremely concerned, didn't get much sleep that night, and I got myself a lovely lecture about this. Lesson here is don't go out on public transportation alone. After midnight, especially if there's only one guy inside it, and it smells funky as hell. I know that's common sense and all, but it's never happened to me before, so I guess I took my safety for granted. See, when you watch news about stuff like this happening, you never really expect it to happen to you. But once it actually happens, shit hits the fan. You gotta act without thinking. Trust your instinct and make a move, or it's gonna be game over before you know it. Other than that, recently we have a bunch of people congratulating me and the other animators for getting into YouTube Rewind. Thank you all. We couldn't have put our starting mark on this year's Rewind without you guys and your massive support.